Beyond the Mic with Sean Dillon.
We're joined on the Starline by writer, comedian, and reporter, and libertarian commentator. You've seen her on Gutfeld and now out on her own comedy tour. Her latest book is I Used to Like You Until... How Binary Thinking Divides Us. We welcome Kat Timpf.
Hi.
Kat, let's go beyond the mic. Why was this book needed, and will people take their fingers out of their ears to hear it?
I hope that they'll take their fingers out of their ears to hear it. I don't, it's desperately needed for the same reason it's kind of a huge risk for me to come out with a book like this right now, because everything is so hyper-politicized, hyper-polarized, one side versus the other. But sadly, this is really harming us. I think that many of us want a lot of the same things, but they have different ideas of how to get there. And if you want to win over and connect with someone who's different from you, then the best way is to focus on what you have in common first. And we've been conditioned to believe that just because someone is in the opposite political party, that we're not going to agree with them on anything. And that's not true. And this book is a guide for people to connect. And, it really shows people why we should want to connect, because we have a lot to lose. The conditioning of the two sides of the binary thinking works great for the government and media in terms of gaining more power and control. I mean, they're going to use division to get you to think it's a great idea to give up your own rights, for example. And we really are making these assumptions about each other, and assumptions are wrong a lot of the time. And we're losing a lot because of what is not even reality. You
said, quote, once you pick a side or a lens, you no longer have to think,
right,
because the thinking has been done for you, unquote. How has hyper-partisanship hurt issues that Newt Gingrich told me both parties basically agree on?
Yeah, I mean, so I when I was going around for my tour, which I'm on tour again now, but I wrote this book while I was on my tour for the first book. And I went to a lot of different places. I went to, Portland, Oregon, but also Midland, Texas, right? How different are those places? And I realized what I'd always kind of suspected to be true based on having a lot of ideologically diverse friends, which is, many of us, we want a lot of the same things, but we have different ideas of how to get there. If you want to win over or connect with someone who's different than you, then the best thing is to focus on those things. And it's not just what I've noticed. There's research that backs this up too, that a lot of us value the same things: compassion, fairness. We just have different ideas of what that looks like. And I think what we can do is realize we care about a lot of the same problems, but we have different solutions. That's not the same thing as not caring about the same problem. And that's what gets skewed a lot of the time.
Quote, the best way to fight the system is to stop allowing it to make us so readily fight one another, unquote. You said that in this book. In creating change, people have to take a first step. Who is willing to lead the charge in returning to civility in politics, or has Pandora's box been opened permanently?
I think that being vulnerable is counterintuitive, but it's going to be the huge way out of this mess. And that's why I decided to do what I did in the book, which is to be extremely vulnerable. This book is a guide for people to connect. If you want to win over and connect with someone who's different from you, then the best way is to focus on those things you have in common, but also the vulnerability. If you are willing to show that you're a human, then people are going to be more willing to treat you as a human. And that's why I share so many I share stories very personal about some struggles and things I've been through that I've never shared with anyone. And I'm now sharing them with the whole world in this book. And I do that with the knowledge that some people might attack me for some of the things that I talk about. And quite frankly, some people already have. But to me, it's worth it, because I'm hoping that other people can kind of do the same thing and realize, we're all humans on this earth, whether we're voting this way or that way. And the more we can see each other as human and have these discussions, the more that, we'll be able to work together to find solutions to the problems that we all have.
The book is I Used to Like You Until, How Binary Thinking Divides Us. Kat Timpf joins us beyond the mic for The Rocking Eight. Kat, all this is 8 random questions. Answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. There is no pressure. Like you, I have insomnia. How long do you sleep on an average night?
I have trouble sleeping. And for a while, thankfully, I'm pregnant. The first trimester, I had trouble not being asleep. But now it's kind of back that I'm out of the first trimester. I have found no solutions. I had trouble sleeping last night. I probably only slept like 6 hours last night, but it's getting harder and harder now that I'm pregnant. I need my sleep more so than I ever have before. But you're right. I don't understand people who just don't have insomnia. Like they just sleep when they want to sleep. How nice must that be?
Best thing about your dog, Carl, and your cat, Cheens.
Well, my dog, Carl's a nice dog. He's a fancy dog. He's a French bulldog. He's adorable. He's sweet. He's friendly. Cheens is a mean old man, but he loves me so much. And he's been there with me since I was a Boston market cashier.
Have you had any specific pregnancy cravings?
I eat so much peanut butter every day that it's probably actually really bad how much peanut butter I eat every single day.
Where is your best tour stop?
It's, I like to go back home to Michigan, but I do love Texas, because I have family there also. It really depends. I've been surprised by a lot of places too. I've learned to never go into a show with any expectations because a lot of audiences have really surprised me.
Do you prefer black or blue ink?
Black ink.
Which comedians in your lifetime made you laugh?
I mean, Joan Rivers was iconic. I dedicated my first book to her and my cat, actually.
Are you an optimist, pessimist, or realist?
I think I'm a realist, but some people say that I'm a pessimist.
Best thing about being from Detroit?
I love Detroit. I think it gets a really bad rap. I love a lot of the food there, and summers in Michigan are the best. It stays light out till almost 10 p.m. in some places. And the weather's beautiful. I just love Michigan, but of course I'm extremely biased.
Let's sneak in one more. How has your husband Cameron changed you?
I thought I didn't really want to have a relationship because I thought that, I was a career woman and I was so focused on my career and I thought that would be a distraction. And honestly, I have flourished in my career to the point that it's not a coincidence that it's, when I started dating him, because now I have this person that loves me unconditionally no matter what. And it is a safe space for me. And like, I have all this support, and I was really wrong about that. And I call myself out in the book for that as well. I love to be wrong though, because it proves that I've learned something.
It's time for one big question with Kat Timpf beyond the mic. Kat, you say, quote, "When we are immersed in hatred, we don't have to do anything," unquote. How has social media trolls disintegrated conversations online, and how do you fix it? Because
we need to start seeing each other as human, which is again why in this book I am vulnerable and I show myself as a human. It's for that reason exactly. And social media takes that away, right? It takes away the humanity. But you know what I've actually done a few times recently is when I get a really hateful comment, I'll message the person and say, "Hey, that really hurt my feelings." And 9 times out of 10, the person will be like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," because they weren't really thinking of me as a person with feelings, right? I mean, the rare time the person will dig in more, but that's very, very rare. Social media takes away the humanity. She eats way too much peanut butter, thinks she's a realist, and wants you to read her book, I Used to Like You, Until How Binary Thinking Divides Us. Kat Timpf, thanks for taking the time to talk with us today. Thank you. And that, my friends, is I'll be on the mic shortcut. If you're enjoying these conversations, please check out another Beyond the Mic episode to find more actors, artists, and people you need to know. We'd also appreciate a like and subscribe on the Good Pods app.